What's up, guys? Welcome to another speed build. I hope you are all having a wonderful day and I hope you had a great weekend. Today we are over in San Sequoia and I am building a small suburban house that is for a single mom that is raising her teen son. But before I get into today's build, I would like to take a brief second to invite you guys to leave a like on this video if you do find it enjoyable, and also subscribe if you have not already. I appreciate each and every one of you guys that takes the time to watch my videos and also interact with me in the comments below. You guys are so awesome and I cannot thank you enough. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and get into today's build and a little bit about the Sims that live in this house. So, like I was saying, this is a single mom that is raising her teen son, and she has actually raised her teen son from infancy all on her own. Obviously with her parents' help, because she was actually a teen mother, and so she had him in high school. And luckily she had super supportive parents, that her mom was actually a stay-at-home mom and she was willing to watch her baby while she was in high school. It was super important to her parents for her to finish high school. All because she was pregnant did not mean that she could not finish high school. It just was a way better future for her and her son, and so her parents were willing to do whatever it took to make sure that happened. In high school, before she got pregnant, she actually started falling down the wrong path and hanging out with the wrong crowd, and that is actually how she met her baby daddy. He was the school bad boy back in the day, and she fell head over heels in love with him. Before she started falling down the wrong path though, she was a straight A student and she did really well. She was a good girl. And then she fell in love with the bad boy, unfortunately, even though he did not necessarily feel the same about her as she felt about him. He viewed it more of like a game than she did. She was viewing this as something serious. And he had multiple girls in his pocket that he was talking to at once, and she happened to be one of them. She started doing super bad in school. She was skipping class, she was sneaking out at night, she even started getting into physical fights at school, which she has never been an angry person before in her life, but hanging out with this new group of friends really just rubbed off on her in the worst way possible. And her parents were really getting super disappointed and they were trying to forbid her from seeing him. And well, I'm sure you guys know how that worked out. She ended up getting pregnant one day and she was horrified. She was so scared to tell her parents. Even though her parents are super supportive, it's still like a scary moment. Like, you never know how they're going to react. And of course they didn't like who she was dating, and so that made it a little bit worse. And so she really was not looking forward to telling them whatsoever. And so she ended up telling her boyfriend first, which is her baby daddy. She told him first, and he did not take it well. He said he never wanted to see her or that baby ever again. He said that he wanted her to get out of his life. He doesn't love her. He's never loved her. She's crazy forever thinking that he did, and she's crazy forever thinking that their relationship was more serious than what it was to him. And to be totally honest, she's not crazy. He made her think that she was so special. I mean, we've all met a person like that before in our life. And so this totally like broke her. She could not even believe what she was hearing. And so with him being like that made this situation 10 times worse than it really should have been. And so yeah, now she's really not looking forward to talking to her parents and telling her parents, because now baby daddy is nowhere in the picture. And not only is he not in the picture, but he made her feel like garbage. Like, she feels kind of useless at the moment, and that is so sad to me. So the situation that she thought was bad enough ended up being 10 times worse, and now she's really not looking forward to telling her parents. And she's really wishing that she listened to her parents a long time ago when they warned her about this guy. She just was, head over heels in love with him. She had rose-colored glasses when it came to him. So it really didn't matter what her parents said. Nothing was going to make her listen to them bashing him. Like, she just was so in love with him. But now she's thinking back at all of the red flags, all of the things that her parents warned her about, and she's regretting her life choices at the moment. And she's really not looking forward to telling her parents about the pregnancy. So she ends up going home, and of course she's in tears. She thinks her life is over. Not only because the guy she thought she was madly in love with ended up breaking up with her and being a total jerk, but she is also pregnant with his baby, and now she has to tell her parents that the guy that they despise got her pregnant. And not only that, but he dumped her and said he never wants to see her or the baby. So she is really not having a good day whatsoever. And all of the possibilities are running through her mind, and none of them are good possibilities. She's afraid that her parents are going to disown her. Obviously, they would never. They're afraid that they're going to kick her out of the house. They're afraid that they're going to make her drop out of school and get a job and support her baby. She's just super, super afraid at the moment. But she ends up going home. She's in tears. Her mom notices right away, and she's like, "Sweetie, what is wrong?" Mom is low-key kind of happy at the moment, though, because she's like, okay, maybe this guy broke up with her. Maybe this is the way out. Like, I don't want to see my daughter in pain, don't get me wrong, but she'll get over it. This is high school, for Pete's sake, you know? And so mom's just, talking to her, saying, "Listen, sweetie, everything's fine. What happened? Tell me what happened." Which, of course, is making her cry even more. I mean, I know I'm that type of person. When I'm crying uncontrollably and somebody asks me why I'm crying, it makes me cry even more. And so that's kind of what's happening with her at the moment. She decided to pull the Band-Aid off completely and let her know the worst news, which is the fact that she's pregnant. And so she's like, "Mom, I'm pregnant." And so mom just kind of stares at her at the moment, and she's like in disbelief, and she's like, "Okay, I would ask how this happened, but we all know how this happens." Her mom, honestly, she took it pretty well. Obviously disappointed, but she didn't go crazy yelling at her or anything like that. Her parents have never been that type of parent where like they just go crazy and start yelling at their children. They've never been that way. And so mom just takes a deep breath and she's like, "All right, okay. We can figure this out. I cannot believe I'm gonna be a grandma already, but we can figure this out. It's fine. It's fine." And then her daughter says, "Mom, that's not the only thing." And then her mom's like, "What? Don't tell me it's twins." And of course she doesn't know yet because she just found out she was pregnant, hasn't been to the doctor yet. So she's like, "Mom, no, it's not twins. I don't even know if it's twins. Hopefully not." She said that this jerk broke up with her and said he never wants to see her or the baby ever again. And her mom is livid at this moment. Like, her mom doesn't get angry, but she's angry right now. She is so angry that this jerk had the nerve to impregnate her daughter and then dump her daughter and act like it was her daughter's fault. So she wants to go find this guy and take care of him herself. And so she is so mad. Like, she's like, "I cannot believe he has the nerve to do this to you, and we are going to fight him." And then her daughter just said, "Mom, I am not interested in doing that. I really just want to leave that in the past and move forward with my life. Figure out what I'm gonna do now. Now I'm gonna have to drop out of school. I'm gonna have to go work at, any job I can get," which isn't very good as a teenager. And her mom's like, "No, honey, no, you're not dropping out of school. All because you're pregnant doesn't mean you're dropping out of school. We can figure this out. I am a stay-at-home mom. Luckily, I am. And luckily your dad has a good enough job that we can help you support this child, but you have got to finish your education. That is the only way you and this child can have a bright future. I'm not going to let you start off in life on the wrong foot just because you made a mistake. So we're going to figure this out. But first things first is we have got to tell your father." So they end up going in the living room where her dad is, just watching TV, hanging out, and They break the news to him, and obviously he didn't take it very well either. He took it a little bit worse than mom did, and he was mad for a few days, to be honest. And he was just super disappointed in his child, who was once a straight A student who excelled in high school, and he was just remembering all of the times that him and his wife went to her school to watch her accept a certificate for straight A's or whatever it is, all of the good times. She was his sweet little girl, and now she is pregnant with her own child. And it was a tough pill to swallow for him, but he finally just accepted the fact that he's going to be a granddad, and he started getting a little bit excited, to be honest. And obviously rules changed around there, and she was no longer allowed to hang out with her friends. She had to go to school, come straight home, do her homework, and get ready for her new baby that will be coming very soon. So she matured really fast when she found out she was pregnant. Her whole pregnancy consisted of her obviously going to school, but also setting up and being super excited for her new baby, and she just could not be more excited and could not wait to meet her own child. And then her parents got pretty excited too. Like they were pretty excited to finally be grandparents. They do have another child who is older than their daughter. Their daughter was the youngest, and they have an older son who just, he's not interested in becoming a father. And so they were afraid that they would never have a grandchild. So now that they are expecting a grandchild, they are super, super excited. And they are happy that they're in the position that they can help their daughter continue her high school education and hopefully go to college afterwards. So she has her baby, and she is in her senior year of high school, and so she doesn't have too long to go by the time the baby came around. And so her mom watches her child while she is at school, and then she comes home, does her homework, her schoolwork, essays, whatever it is she has to do, and then she takes care of the baby for the rest of the evening. And she's also on night shift too. So that's pretty fun. But as a teenager, you have a lot of energy. I mean, I used to stay up all night and still go to school the next day and be super energetic, and so she's handling it perfectly. She loves being a mom to her baby boy. So now that she has her son to think about, she is actually starting to excel in her schoolwork once again. She ends up graduating as valedictorian, and she earns a scholarship to Brightchester, and she could not be more excited, and her parents could not be more excited for her. At this point, they believe this baby came into her life to change her life for the better. And so they could not be more ecstatic for their daughter and their grandson's future. And so she graduates and she heads to Brightchester, and she decides to major in economics. And this is because she really wants to become a teacher, since she had such, a hard time in high school, and she had an experience where she thought her education was over. She now dreams of becoming a teacher herself to help students that might be in her position or an even worse position. So she goes through college, she becomes one of the top students in her class, just like high school, and she graduates and she becomes a teacher and fulfills her dream in education. So now that she has a career of her own and she's finally making her own money, she decides it is time to move out and find a home for her and her son. And her son is now a child when they decide to move, and they end up moving into this house that you see me building now. And when they first moved to this house, they were so happy and so excited that they were finally on their own, and they no longer had to rely on her parents. And her parents, they were sad to see them go, but obviously they were ready to retire themselves and live a retirement life, start going on vacations, come visit them when they want to, and then go back home, and they don't have any more responsibility. And so they were super, super happy about it. So her son is now in high school himself, and she can't help but be a little bit sad that her baby boy has grown up so fast and is now experiencing high school, but in a different way than she did. He is excelling in his grades just like she did, but he has not fallen off on the wrong path that she almost did. He's excelling in schoolwork, and he is also a star basketball player. He takes it so seriously. They have a basketball hoop out front that he uses every day. Mom does have to move her car. I parked it out front for now, but typically Mom parks it over off into the street so that he can play his basketball. So he really dreams to become a basketball star once he gets older. He wants to go to university. Mom is a Brightchester alumni, and so she really wants him to go to Brightchester as well, but he really wants to go to Foxbury, and so they're kind of having a little bit of a disagreement about that, but obviously it's his choice and Mom will be happy no matter what as long as he goes to university. It doesn't matter which one, but he really wants to go to Foxbury because they have a better physical education course to take. And so yeah, Foxbury's most likely where he's going to go as long as he gets in, which if he keeps going the way that he's going, he will. He'll have a choice of either Foxbury or Brightchester, but most likely it will be Foxbury. So her son is actually about to start his senior year, which is super exciting, and she is encouraging him to go to prom and do all of the senior things that she missed out on because she did have him at such an early age. She could have went to prom, but she was so focused on her schoolwork and doing the best she could for her baby that she had no interest in going. Obviously, she regrets it now. She wished she did have that experience. So she's kind of living through her son and pushing her son to go to prom. And he's honestly really looking forward to it. He is planning on asking his longtime girlfriend to go to prom with him. He's going to make like one of those prom signs and do it super cute, maybe on the basketball court or maybe somewhere, do something cute for her. And he's gonna ask his mom for help on it because he's a guy, he doesn't really know what girls like, and so his mom can help him in that field. But he definitely is planning on doing something sweet for her to ask her to prom. Oh, a promposal, that's what it's called. He's going to do a promposal for her, and of course she's gonna say yes. They've been together since they were sophomores, and so they really love each other, and they possibly will get married once they graduate, but they're both going to go to university. They're going to take their time. They're not going to rush things like his mom did. Mom never did get married though. Mom never had a boyfriend. She really just was super occupied in her son that she never spent time focusing on herself. But now that he is a teenager and in his senior year, he has his own stuff going on. He's not Mom's little boy anymore. Well, he always will be, but technically, he's not because he's in high school. He's a high school kid. He's not like, hanging out with Mom all the time, So she is now finding herself having a lot of spare time. And she's now like reflecting on her life like, wow, maybe I should have put myself out there a little bit more. I was asked out time and time again through college and now in my teaching career, and I just never acted on any of it. I was just so occupied in my son and my career that I was just never interested. But now that I'm older and my son is older, he's got his own stuff going on, I'm really finding myself to be kind of lonely. And so she's starting to think about creating an online profile. She never really wanted to do that. She really wanted to meet somebody naturally, but it just didn't happen for her. She just wasn't thinking about that, And so now that she has a lot of free time, she is thinking about doing an online profile. And she is going to ask her son to help her out with it, and he will gladly do it. But he is so protective of his mom that none of these guys on these dating profiles are going to be good enough for her. And so she's asking his opinion on what he thinks about the guys that she's matching with. She's not going to be happy with the answer because none of them are going to be good enough for his mom. And so maybe the online dating probably isn't the best thing. She probably should just, give some of these other teachers that she is working with a chance, because she does get asked out quite often. She's a very pretty lady. And so she is now starting to think about more of saying yes to some of these advances, but she's not 100% sure yet. It will take a little bit of time, but now that she has so much free time, she is really starting to seriously think about finding a partner, a lifelong partner that she can grow old with. And that is pretty much all I have in regards to the story. Now, in regards to the style of the house, I really was aiming for like a typical suburban house, maybe not so big. I really wanted one that was only 2 bedrooms. And technically, if you download this, you could turn the garage into a 3rd bedroom. Sometimes I like to do that. It makes it feel a little bit more realistic. Maybe a family grew out of this house that only has 2 bedrooms and they had a garage, so they renovated the garage. But I really liked the idea of keeping the garage and having only 2 bedrooms in this house. At the end of the day, they only needed 2 bedrooms anyways, because it has only been her and her son this whole time. And obviously, she is not planning on having any more children. She's still kind of young. She's in her like mid-30s at this point, and so if she meets somebody else that wants to have a baby, she'll cross that bridge when she gets there. But if it's up to her, she's done with kids and she's looking forward to finally spending some time focusing on herself. But anyways, not only do we have 2 bedrooms in this house, we also have 2 bathrooms, and one is in the master bedroom, which is for the mom, and then there's another one right outside of like the garage and the extra bedroom. And so that one I just decorated for the teen son. And so I tried to make it look like a teen boy's bathroom. I used the tub from Parenthood, and one of them has like a baseball swatch on it. I wish it was a basketball swatch, but I guess baseball's close enough, right? It's at least a sport. Like, he's just a sporty kid. Like, it doesn't really matter what sport it is at the end of the day, but he does prefer basketball. And so, yeah, I just really tried to make it look like a teen boy's bathroom. And I also chose the mirror from high school years that has like stickers on there, and one's like a skateboard sticker, and I think there's a basketball sticker on there. But I love that mirror. I think it's perfect for teens bathrooms. I use it all the time, to be honest. And then mom's bathroom, I really just tried to make it match her bedroom and the rest of the house as well as possible. Obviously, mom really likes blue because this whole house has kind of like a blue theme to it. I love a good blue house, to be honest. And this one's no different. I think this one came out super, super cute, and I think it matches the storyline that I came out with. It looks just like a single mom would live here. And as far as the mom's bedroom goes, it's really just like a basic bedroom. I didn't put any other skill building items in there. I was able to put a computer in the living room, so I didn't feel the need to put one in her bedroom too. So it's really just like her bed and like a dresser, and that's really about it, with some decorations. And so she really just goes in there to go to bed. She doesn't spend a lot of time in there whatsoever. She's really too productive to spend any time during the day in her bedroom. So really all that's needed is the bed. Her teen son is a different story though. He spends quite a bit of time in his room, just like any teen would when he's not out playing basketball or hanging out with his friends. He's typically in his room doing his own thing, whether it's playing video games or chatting online with his friends or whatever it may be. He just likes to hang out in his room. So we do have a computer in here for him as his own personal computer. And then the one in the living room is the one that mom uses. Now, as far as the teen's room, I tried to make it look like a typical teen boy's room. So he has like posters everywhere, a lot of like sports posters. And I almost did the football posters, and I almost put the football trophy in here, but I really wanted him to be focused on basketball, and so I didn't really want to put a whole bunch of like football things around his room. I felt like it didn't make a whole lot of sense. I mean, he really loves sports in general. It doesn't really matter the sport, but at the end of the day, it kind of does matter because his passion is in basketball. And so he has the basketball bedspread, and I couldn't find any other basketball like wall items. There is a certain basketball decal, like wall decal, that came with Parenthood, and I do believe I put that in his room in just a little bit, but it took me a while to find it, to be honest. I totally forgot about it until I seen it like in the catalog, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, at least that's something to do with basketball, so it's kind of better than nothing. But yeah, so that's pretty much it in regards to the teen. His only interest really is basketball, and then he does like to hang out with his friends. We do have a pool in this house, and he likes to throw a lot of like pool parties and stuff like that to have a good time with his friends. And his mom is all for it. She is super supportive when it comes to him hanging out with his friends because she didn't really have that. She kind of, we know what her past was like. I don't have to say it again. So now that her son is a teen, she is super supportive with him hanging out with his friends because she didn't necessarily have that growing up. Not when she got pregnant anyways. So we are over into the garage, and I am putting some like random miscellaneous stuff in here. I put a newborn baby's crib, or bassinet is what it's called here. And that is his bassinet when he was a baby. Like, mom is super sentimental that she kept his bassinet, and I ended up putting some spider webs on it. I thought that was kind of like a cute touch because it's been there a while, and so she just can't bear to get rid of it, and so she just kept it, and she's keeping it as a memento. Maybe once he's older and he gets married, has a baby of his own, she's thinking about giving the bassinet to him and letting him use it for his own baby. I think that's like a super cute idea. And I'm also putting a laundry room in here because we don't have one, and I like to add them in my houses when I think about it. It gives it like a realistic touch. And then I put some boxes, and I put some dog food bags because they do have a dog. I don't think I mentioned that. They ended up getting a dog when they first moved in here, and the teen was a child at the moment. So the dog, they got him as a puppy. He grew up to an adult dog, and they love him very much. And that's really all there is to say about that. We have his food bowl in the kitchen, and you've probably seen me put some like dog training things out in the yard. I almost thought of putting that out there because I never use those items, but I kind of hated the way that it looked, and so I decided to get rid of the dog training things, and I ended up putting some like gardening planter boxes out there instead. I figured that could be mom's like little hobby on the side. She's trying to find herself, basically. Now that her son has grown up, she's really trying to decide what she really likes to do, and so she took up a new hobby of gardening, and to be honest, she's really enjoying it. But we are actually done with the inside furnishings now. I was telling the story as I was decorating the kitchen and the living room and the dining room. There's really not much to say about all of those rooms. I think they turned out really cute though. And it's pretty typical of, a kitchen that I normally do. I like the layout of this kitchen though. It's kind of different. I usually put windows in my kitchen. I usually have my kitchen on like the outskirt walls or the exterior walls, but the way that this floor plan laid out, the kitchen ended up being in the interior of the house, if that makes sense. And then I have an island, and I put the kitchen sink on the island. And then I put a little bit of a platform drop off into the dining room, and then put the dining table there. And I did make sure that my sim was actually able to walk outside of the back door, and she, luckily was able to, and surprisingly was able to. I really didn't think that was gonna work. I thought it was a little bit too tight of a fit, but to my surprise, it worked. And I love that dining table, by the way. It's from Eco Lifestyle, and I think it's one of the ones where you have to like do bb.show hidden objects and bb.show live edit objects for it to come up, if I'm not mistaken. And so it's easy to forget about it if you don't do those cheats a lot, but I do it like in every build because I like to build with debug and with the hidden objects. And like, I'm pretty sure you have to make that table through the maker career, or like at least the maker skill if I'm not mistaken. And so yeah, it's easy to miss, but I ended up using it and I think it's super cute. It fits perfectly in that little square dining room. And then the living room I really enjoy too. I did my typical sofa set that I tend to do a lot, and it's the one from like the cozy, not the cozy kitchen, maybe it's the cozy kitchen. It's one of the kits, and not the cozy kitchen kit, maybe like there's another kit that is like not the cozy kitchen one, but there's another kitchen one, and I'm pretty sure it's from that kit, and I love that sofa set. Not only does it come with a matching love seat, but it has like pillows already on there, and I just think it's super cute, and I thought it was perfect for a house that is owned by a single mom, because it just looks super like girly to me, and I love it. And then the layout of the living room itself worked out perfectly. It has like a middle wall where I put the fireplace, and then I put the TV over it. I mean, you guys seen it. You've seen it earlier when I was telling the story. But yeah, I'm really happy with the way that the inside turned out. I think it turned out super, super cute. Now, as far as the outside goes, like I said earlier, we do have a pool, and it's a pretty good sized pool, to be honest. And of course, I'm putting some floaties in here because the teen loves to throw pool parties and hang out with his friends out here. We also have the tree from movie hangout stuff, and it has the lanterns like hanging from it. That is my all-time favorite tree in the game. I use it all the time. I absolutely love it. And then I put like a table and chair set right next to the tree. And I do not believe I put any loungers. I could have fit some right where the fence is, but for some reason I didn't do it. So if you download this and you want some lounge chairs, that space right there would be perfect to put some. And now we are just finishing up the yard by putting some planter boxes out here, and that is pretty much it. And then I'm going to do some terrain paint, and that is the build. I guess at this point there's really not anything left to say, so I really hope you guys enjoyed this build, and I hope you enjoyed my storyline as well. Of course, if you did, please do not forget to leave a like on the video. It lets me know that you did enjoy it, and also subscribe if you have not already. I really appreciate each and every one of you guys. I hope you all have an amazing rest of your day or night, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys!